Alright lads, and welcome back to another video. Now, as you can see, not a usual setup. We're back at East End Park. I've been invited along by Craig Brown, media guy at East End Park and all things Dunfermline I suppose. He's kindly offered me the opportunity to interview Dunfermline manager Stevie Crawford. It's a brilliant opportunity. I get to sit down with Stevie and just ask him a couple of questions. I've had a walk around the stadium and stuff, and we've had a brief chat about loads of other things as well, but delighted to just be back here. It's getting that feeling back again, and hopefully we'll get back here soon enough. But delighted to be here today and get the chance to talk to Dunfermline manager Stevie Crawford. On the pars, as always, let's get into the interview. Right, so just before we do get into the interview, there is some slight audio issues with this now. It's completely my fault. I'm a complete and utter amateur because of this, but I've tried to work around it and make the video enjoyable in another sense. It's not exactly what I was going for at the first instance, but we move. Enjoy the video, lads. Sorry once again. So, first of all, welcome along to Stevie Crawford. The gaffer is here to answer some of my questions. As I've mentioned earlier in this video, the audio is all over the place. Let me off with it, lads. Enjoy the video for what it is. I'll do better next time, I promise.
I'm good then, and it's a pleasure to eventually meet you, and you know, a lot of the family are admirers of your work and see a lot of passion in it, so delighted to be here sitting and get some questions from you today.
So, in this interview, we were sitting right beside the new Dunfermline kits, both home and away. So I asked Stevie what he thought of the new kits, and overall, some kits that he's remembered in his time as a player at Dunfermline, one of his kind of favourites and then one of his least favourites.
And I think the two strips this year are really pleasing on the eye, and ones that the players will enjoy wearing as well, and supporters will be looking to buy. So looking back, you know, over my playing days, I think the white strip with the thin pinstripe was one that stuck out in memory. Also can remember a silvery grey one that we had one season as a away top, which I don't think was too pleasing on the eye, so not as many fond memories of that one.
One partnership that's always been spoken about, especially amongst Dunfermline fans, is that between himself and Craig Brewster. And I mentioned a goal that he scored against Rangers in December 2003. That goal was a very memorable one for Dunfermline fans, and I wanted to get Stevie's thoughts on how special that partnership was between himself and Craig Brewster.
No, Craig was a fantastic player. He was great at bringing not just myself into the game, but other players into the game. And you know, you're talking about that goal. It wasn't just a head flick. The way he positioned himself, I knew that he was going to sort of header it over his left shoulder, and it was a matter of just timing your run, staying on side. But you know, I think I'm on record as saying that he was sort of like the icing on the cake. Jimmy Calderwood and Jimmy Nicholl had been putting a squad together for a number of years, and he was just that final bit of the jigsaw to allow us to be competing at the top end of the Premiership at the time.
I thought this would be quite an interesting question to ask Stevie. Who was the most influential person to Stevie Crawford, the player?
Jimmy Nicholl was a massive influence on my playing career. I've said that going from a young man or a boy to becoming a man, and knowing what the work rate side of the game brought, mentality side, he was a massive influence on me to give me an opportunity to go to the senior game. My dad's always been massive. I think, you know, we've spoken earlier, and your dad's had a massive influence on you. My dad was very fair, but never got carried away with any good times that we had as well, so, you know, level-headed, and I think I carried that through my playing days. And
then onto the management side, the most influential person to Stevie Crawford, the manager.
I've been very fortunate since coming into the coaching side. You're working with a lot of good people, and I think it's going into different clubs with an open mindset. You know, Stephen Presley and Robbie Nielsen, they gave me an opportunity to work with them as assistants at good clubs. I was very fortunate that Alex Smith was in at Falkirk at the time, and he's had a massive influence on me in terms of he believed in young players. If anybody looks back at their football, knows Scottish football, they'll see that Alex Smith, whether it was at St Mirren when they won the Scottish Cup or his time up at Aberdeen, he was always one for giving young players an opportunity, and he had a massive impact on my coaching career. Probably I could learn more from Alec within listening to him in 1 hour and taking things on board than I could off a lot of people maybe working for 2 or 3 months. So he was massive in that side there. But as I say, working with good people and continue to learn things on a daily basis.
So, if you're a Dunfermline fan, you'll have known that Stevie Crawford has brought in a lot of young players in the first 18 months of his reign as Dunfermline manager. And I wanted to ask him who he thought was the most kind of improved player since coming into the club.
Sometimes it's dangerous to just pick one player out. One of the obvious ones, Kevin Nisbet was 23 when he came to us, and you see what can happen in a very short space of time. And sometimes, because a football player, you don't think you're going to be the one that happens to. We're fortunate with the young ones that we've got at the moment in the squad, that I think there's a lot of development in them still, but we're just delighted that they're going to get an opportunity, but they're deserving of that opportunity. And as I say, I don't want to mention any individual names. They know that the standards that we set on a daily basis, that we'd love for them to be the next Kevin Nisbet. So as I say, it's just that old-fashioned saying, take one day at a time and work hard, and opportunities might flourish.
And staying on the kind of young players and inconsistencies front, I questioned Stevie on the fact that last season I kind of felt that there was always that inconsistency part to us as a team, and asked him straight up if he was expecting that coming into the season last season, or if it was something we just took on the chin as time went on and hopefully learned from it for future games and of course this upcoming season.
Again, it's getting that balance right, and I know that if we don't get results at Dunfermline, I'm going to be the one that takes it first and foremost in the neck, and I'll shoulder that responsibility because I want us challenging at the top end of the league. But I also know in this, I've got good people round about me, that if you're going to give youth an opportunity, the best way to learn sometimes is a harsh reality, is you make mistakes. And it's then not making people uncomfortable that coming into the workplace. They've got to believe in themselves, and you can point out that they could have done better at certain times, at certain decisions that they've made, but as I say, it can be an unforgiving world out there on the football pitch, where you get thousands of people having an opinion of you, and as I say, a lot of things that I learned very quickly in my career was mistakes that I made. So again, I'm going on past experience of how managers made me feel. Yes, they made me aware that I'd done things wrong, but equally, there was a trust and an environment that made me want to come into my work every Monday morning.
And then on this upcoming season, we finished last season obviously 6th place on a points per game ratio, Arbroath finishing above us. And I asked Stevie, again, a straight up question, is this season looking to be more of a sustained push for promotion playoffs or automatic promotion in a best case scenario?
I think if I sit here and turn around and say to Dunfermline supporters that we're happy finishing 6th, I've said it before, I shouldn't be sitting here. The one thing in my remit when I come into the job though, and having spoke to the chairman, was to develop players. So there's also that side there. So if we're continuing to develop players and we're competing at the right end of the table, then we're doing something right, and it's getting that foundation to the club right. But the players that we've brought in, we've managed to attract players, whether it be through getting players on loan last season that want to come back, or now people want to come to Dunfermline because they understand that we are trying to develop people that we're looking to finish in the playoffs next season.
On to the signings front, and I think it's fair to say that Dunfermline fans on the whole, especially myself, have been very pleased with the signings that have come in so far. And basically I just wanted to ask Stevie what the kind of ethos is about this summer's transfer window and the business that we're doing obviously last summer, a lot of youth, but is this season going to be more experience and youngsters, the same sort of balance that we tried to get last season?
This season's a different challenge, and at the moment it doesn't look like we're going to have reserve football. So, you know, it's putting a squad together that's giving you options to put in the pitch on a Saturday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's also, you know, not to say that we still can't develop players, and it might be that we have to put a few players out on loan, and then target possibly the loan market ourselves to bring in players that are ready at this moment to compete in the championship. But as I say, I've worked at clubs in the past, and I've been amongst our coaching staff that have played younger players and you know, been competing at the top end of the league. So I know that when young players, you give them a chance to flourish with the right core to the team as well, and the right experience, that holds well for an exciting season.
So, on that front, Stevie, how many players can we expect, or do you hope to see come in? Obviously, with the 6 players that you can loan in to clubs now, are we going to be extending our business into that market even further now?
Yeah, there's been a slight change in that, so again, it's dangerous sometimes when you turn around and say I'm going to bring in X amount, because then people can look at it as disappointing if you don't bring in that number, and we've brought in, you know, a good core of players already. What we'll say is we continually work away in the background, and football never ceases to amaze you that sometimes people move on and, you know, different players become available. I think there's a couple of positions that we still need to address within the squad, and then I would like to, you know, be looking at the loan market as well after we see what shape the boys come back at pre-season. And the main players tend to look after themselves better, but again, we've got to make sure they're ready to compete in the Scottish Championship.
Now, I think obviously a main thing that Dunfermline fans are looking at the moment is the goalkeeping area, and if we're going to bring one in, obviously we've got Cammy Gill and Ben Swinton currently at the club, and with Cammy Gill kind of in that sort of in-between period and age where he needs games, but is he going to get it at this club? Will he be one that we're looking to kind of loan out in the coming season along with other players?
We could be talking about Cammy, or we could be talking about any other player in the squad. It becomes ifs, buts and maybes. You know, at this moment, Cammy and Ben Swinton are the 2 goalkeepers we've got at the club. You know, Cammy was given, I think, opportunities to play first team football last year, and he managed to break into the team and won, I think, double figures appearance-wise. But you're right, he's at an age where he's going to be wanting to play first team football. But what I've said to any player that I've signed this season, or any player that I signed the previous season, is if you're at a club like Dunfermline, you've got to be ready to fight for your jersey. And Cammy has got that in abundance in his character, and you know, he'll not shirk away from any of the challenges. And again, it's a big season ahead for Cammy, but likewise the rest of the younger players. And
then this one's a more general one. What has been the most pleasing game to manage Dunfermline in so far?
Listen, when you're standing out in the dugouts, it's never an easy thing to try and enjoy. It's a totally different feel from when you were a player, because you're actually caught up trying to have an impact on the game. You're continually in the sidelines churning things over in your mind. What should I be trying to change this? Do we change the formation? You know, do we have to bring somebody on that's going to try and have an impact in the game? I think where we made a big step was last season on the League Cup game against Celtic. The fact that we were a goal down and we managed to get an equaliser against the league champions at the time, that's a small step in the direction we ought to go. And you know, it's something that we can talk about that's happened, you know, just over a year ago now, that's where we want to end up being again. You know, and that's going to be the players, that's the motivation for the players that were here last year, that we want to try and be playing the games more regularly.
2 last questions here. Stevie Crawford, Dunfermline player, describe that period in 3 words.
Lucky, enjoyable, special.
And then last, but certainly not least, Stevie Crawford, Dunfermline manager, described that period in 3 words.
Scary, humbling and passionate.
Cheers to Stevie for coming on once again. Thanks for putting up with the kind of issues with the audio, lads. You'll maybe notice it once the video was going along there. Hopefully, as I said, that'll be erased from time as I get more experience with doing interviews. But it was a great experience, this one, and I really hope to do it again sometime. So thanks to Stevie for coming on, thanks to Craig as well for sorting it out for us in the background, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like, comment below anything about the interview. I'm sure Stevie will be tuning in, he'll be reading the comments, I suppose.
I'll get my niece to be watching it. She's a big admirer of Ben, so he better make me come across okay in this video.
And subscribe for more of this type of content, more Scottish football content in the coming months and maybe years to come. See you in the next video, guys.